Hola Madridistas, welcome to a very special episode of a preview for the Copa del Rey final because we have a very special guest who's Kevin Abad. He's an all-time like at the top right there in UK. He's one of the best Osasuna fans because there aren't a lot of them out there, isn't there? It's safe to say you're one of the best.
Safe to say, yeah. No, there aren't many of us, particularly in London. So happy to represent today for sure. All Osasunistas, Rojillos around. So yeah, no, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and as usual, we have Farouk on for the preview. So, Kevin, like it's usually me and Farouk on for the previews, especially for the La Liga ones, and we just don't get to most of the post matches for whatever reason. And it's always plain sailing for us because we get to talk about a bunch of things. We get to analyze it from a very brain point of view, and but then in the post match, you're always coming off of either a bad victory, I mean, a poorly played victory, or if it's in most recent times for Real Madrid, there's been a few losses here and there as well, and it's not always a good time. So I really enjoyed these previews. What
Yeah,
about you,
definitely,
Farouk?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's just plain sailing because you don't necessarily have to react to any performance. You're just, analyzing what, you know, happened in the previous games, around the league, what's gonna come up in the game. So it's a bit more, chilled. So, when you go to the post matches immediately after the game, emotions are running high. Like you're trying to analyze and react to, what the players have shown or not shown on the pitch. And at least for the past couple of weeks, it's been, very lackadaisical performances. So yeah, I totally agree with Jacob. It's, a chill approach, honestly.
yeah. And I know, Kevin, we chatted a bit before, and but still, when we always have guests over, we go for a rapid fire session. It's just maybe a
Sure.
couple of questions, easy questions. Feel free to answer it to the best of your abilities. So the first question is, what's your favorite player in La Liga of all time? It can be currently playing players or players of the past.
Ooh, I would have to say difficult one to be honest. I'd have to say Iker Casillas.
Iker Casillas, wow.
Oh,
Yeah. So I grew up before even understanding sort of or following Osasuna. Grew up watching the Spain national team. Started watching the national team during the era of Casillas, Raúl, Morientes, all these players, Xavi. But Iker Casillas sticks out to me. He's got to be my all-time favourite.
That's a really good shout out, man. I did not expect a Real Madrid player. Well, maybe a bit, yes, since you used to follow Real Madrid a while back. But yeah, um,
I mean, for all we know, Kevin could just be doing us a fan service, man. We don't know.
you know, he does seem like,
I
yeah,
well, back then I was more following Spain. I think the Spain national team, following them at the Euros, at the World Cup. I wasn't really watching league football when I was very young, but the players that stick out is Iker Casillas and Raúl, and yeah, he's got to be one of my favourite players of all time. Of course, he went on to win the World Cup and played all his life in La Liga, so easy answer for me.
However,
yeah,
Kevin, I just have a feeling like, it must have been difficult following Spain back then because as you mentioned, you had players like, Raul, Guti, early Xavi, Iker Casillas, just to name a few there, and I mean, these were like world-class players, not just, for the sake of it, but they were totally underperforming, on the national level. I don't know how frustrating
It,
was that for you.
I was every World Cup. I mean, my memory of the World Cup in 2002 in Korea, we were just devastated. But luckily, Spain went on and actually went on to become one of the greatest sort of teams in international history. But if you look at the time when Spain was underperforming, and you could argue, yeah, they're underperforming at the moment. But at that time, you have to look at the other countries. If you look at Brazil, the Brazil of Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká. You look at France, Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Lilian Thuram, all these great players. Argentina, Italy. They were teams that were sort of at their peak at that time. Spain weren't there yet, so you could understand why they possibly didn't perform or were as successful as they could have been, just because there were so many other great teams at the time. But 2008 is sort of where it all sort of clicked and came together. So we have experienced some good moments, but 2012, the last European Cup win, that's obviously more than 10 years ago now. So hopefully something kicks on with a sort of new era of players.
Well, if you ask me, it's going to be a long while. I still don't see a lot of hope for Spain right now. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. Fingers crossed.
Right. You ready for the next question, Kevin?
Let's hear it.
If you could bring one currently playing Premier League player to the La Liga, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, it could be to Osasuna, or just could be to any
it
other
could be
club.
to Osasuna. I want to think of, say, possibly Kevin De Bruyne.
Mm.
Yeah, I think creative player probably suits La Liga's sort of way of playing. It's all about that creativity. Seeing what he could do in a team like not necessarily Barcelona or Real Madrid, but seeing what he could achieve in La Liga, I think that would be quite interesting. I think if you asked me a few years ago, I probably would have said Eden Hazard. Obviously, that did happen, and that obviously we saw how that sort of came out. But yeah, I'd say Kevin De Bruyne. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I totally like your choice of player, the Hazards and the Kevin De Bruyne's rather than the Haalands of the world. Right. So the next question is,
I love how Kevin is doing a bit of fan service by selecting Iker Casillas and then unsolicitedly taking a piece on us with Eden Hazard as well. It's like, okay, yeah.
Well, if it was the other way around, say a La Liga player to the Premier League, I would have to say Vinicius. I think it'll be fascinating to see how he would fare in Premier League football.
Premier League, yeah, good shout. That's a good shout, honestly.
Yeah. And the next question is, what was your top moment so far as an Osasuna fan?
Oh, I would say there's not been many. As we were speaking before coming on, we've had a few good moments in our history. Couple of which I wasn't really around to see. I would have to say, I'll say recently, probably beating Athletic Bilbao in the run up to the final. Obviously, Bilbao are our rivals, and it was just really good just to see them off. It was a difficult game for us, but we saw them off. We sort of pulled through, and to make it into the final, just incredible. So we don't get into many cup finals, so it's got to be up there, to be honest, with in my recent memory of and recent sort of times of supporting Osasuna, of good and standout moments. That would have to be one of them.
Well, as a Real Madrid fan, I just hope, you don't say maybe in a week's time, my best moment so far was beating Real Madrid.
Exactly, yeah. ask me on Saturday night, Sunday morning, yeah. See, my answer changes.
Yeah. All right. The next question might be a bit of a tricky one, especially since you're an Osasuna fan who's supportive of homegrown players and who sticks on to their managers. So the question is, hypothetically, if given the chance, would you swap Arrasate for Ancelotti or someone, maybe a similar manager of a really high level for the next season?
I would do, to be fair. Obviously, Arrasate, he's a manager who has managed at this level, who knows how to get the best out of the players. Ancelotti, is a world-class manager. How would he fare with a squad like Osasuna's? It will be interesting, to be honest, to see how he would get on. I don't think he would last, to be honest. I remember, I think it was in the press conference, they had asked Vicente Del Bosque, the old Spain manager, what would sort of how he would manage with a team like Osasuna, and he said, well, he said he would like to give it a go, but sort of that was towards the later period of his managing days. But that would have been quite interesting. But yeah, I think I would like to see a swap. These top class managers, you always want to see if they're really tested how they would fare in a team like Osasuna. So a manager like Ancelotti, who's won it all, that could be a challenge that would be interesting. Just not so much for an Osasuna fan, but also for football fans. But yeah, I'd like to see that swap.
Nice.
Again, with Arrasate, with the tools, what would he do in a team like Real Madrid? The tools that he doesn't necessarily have in Osasuna. So equally, that's what would be interesting to see. But yeah, I'll say yes is the answer to that question.
Farag, do you feel the same? Do you feel like Ancelotti could last at a team like Osasuna? Because remember, he is Italian. He is used to playing in that sort of setup.
I think it's not about being Italian or lack thereof. It's more about the kind of coaches that this people are like, as I don't know, be it an Ancelotti, be it Zidane or Klopp or Pep or anything. Like these are coaches that like they play in such intricate ways that it requires the top of the top, the best of the best. You understand? So when you go to a meet, as we spoke before, like Osasuna is just at least for the past 4 or 5 seasons, they've just been a mid-table team, like not great, not bad. You understand? Just doing the bare minimum. So I personally think like coaches like Ancelotti would most likely, not be able to work in that kind of environment because it's too like I mean the players are good, but they are kind of technically limited as well. This is just the reality of the issue there as well. You understand? So I think because of that, I feel like a coach like Ancelotti might not necessarily flourish like Arasati has done at Osasuna, honestly. And however, on the other side of the coin, it remains that there's always that chance that this coaches from the mid-table teams or from the lower teams could actually come and become superstars at the bigger teams as well. So there's always that there's always that possibility. So I think it's more possible for someone like Arasati to succeed at Real Madrid than for Carlo to succeed at Osasuna.
Yeah. Fair shot, man, but we'll never know unless something crazy like that happens.
Well, once upon a time, Rafael Benitez, he was a manager at Osasuna. He was moderately successful with them. We know what he did at Liverpool. He won the league. I think he won back-to-back leagues with Valencia, back-to-back La Ligas.
Exactly, yeah. True.
I know he wasn't particularly successful at Real Madrid, but you could argue he was past his prime when he was their manager. But yeah, who knows? A manager like Arrasate at Real Madrid. It will be fascinating. I don't think we'd ever see it though.
Yeah. Well, I would just like to read out a couple of comments. So Sunaid says, Kevin represented. Yeah, man, he's basically referring to your whole setup.
Yeah, exactly. I won this flag actually in sort of Los Sanfermines, which is something that Pamplona is known for. It was in the fair, messing around, and this was one of the prizes.
Wow.
So I'll be having that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a spoiler war. Nice. And Hokage's method. Is that Mo, Farouk, Hokage's method?
Yeah. It's Mo.
Yeah. Mo says, Vamos method. Yeah, Mo, good to have you back. And he asks, not Haaland. So he's referring to Kevin's opinion of bringing on Kevin De Bruyne instead of Haaland.
I think we've had years of record-breaking players in La Liga.
Yeah.
So let's let's go a different way, different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, if you were to ask me, I'd actually say I want to see a player like Kante in the league. Actually, I want to see if he's able going to be, because I feel like, as you actually attested to, Kevin, the thing is that La Liga is more suited to technical players. Gifted technicians, do best in La Liga. I mean, the names, the list goes on and on. There's no need to start calling names. However, I just feel like maybe a player. Okay, yeah, we know in the past Makalele has done really well for Real Madrid, but I mean, when you look at the profile of those I don't know, holding midfielders. You think of a Xavi Alonso, you think of a Sergio Busquets, you think of a Marco Senna, so they're not necessarily, the most, how can I say, uh, athletic. I don't know if that would be the word. Like, they're not the most athletic players, out there. But then when you look at a player like Kante, like, he was so good in the Premier League that he was the Premier League Player of the Year. And for me, I think he was the Premier League Player of the Year. He was the best player in the Premier League for at least 3 years. And being the best player in the Premier League when Hazard was there was quite a feat, honestly. So I would love to see, someone like Kante, at least, when he's fit and on form, what he can bring in La Liga as well.
So no tricky wingers from Premier League, just midfielders.
Bro, Premier League wingers, I just throw the ball forward and run faster than defender, man. There is nothing there. I mean, if it's as fast as Usain Bolt, you can just play in the Premier League, bro.
Well, that answers Kevin's doubts. How would Vinicius fare in the Premier League? He would absolutely tear teams up.
Yeah, man.
And Mo also asks, I would like to ask Kevin what the success of David Garcia means to Osasuna fans.
Oh, incredible. He made his debut for Spain not too long ago against Scotland. Unfortunately, Spain lost that match, but David Garcia had a sort of solid match. He's probably been one of the standout centre backs of the season. Maybe I'm saying that with a bit of bias, but in a team like Osasuna, who are not on the back foot, but there's a lot of defending to do. Yeah, he's there, sort of winning every header, going with every tackle. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment, so I don't think he'll be. I think he's out for the season or a few games, so he's not going to make the final. So it's a big loss for us, but we're very proud of the team to have a player sort of reach the national team, and there's a player that's come from the cantera, so sort of made in Osasuna and sort of grown to be sort of such a successful international player. So yeah, we're quite proud. It puts Osasuna on the map, if you like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really happy.
I mean, by now, I guess the Osasuna love story or the romanticized story of Osasuna, how they came into being, is out there. And it's just that, okay, David Garcia adds to the history and stuff, but I think a lot of people are familiar with the story and coming to grips with how well run of a club Osasuna is.
Yeah, they've always sort of been known to sort of have a great fan base and a solid fan base. They would always get behind their team, and they're a very proud people. So if you do ever get the chance to go to a game at El Sadar, it's a great experience. Quite a family orientated club as well. You'll see sort of kids and families there in attendance, as well as the ultras. So they're very vocal, and they just add to the atmosphere. So it's a great experience, to be honest. As a fan, with a team like Osasuna, we have our ups and downs, but I'll say it's a well run club. Certainly over the last few years, it's gone a bit more stable. We've been in La Liga now for, I want to say, the last 4 years.
4 seasons, yeah.
4 seasons, yeah. So I think we won Segunda 2018, 2019 season. We were first. We came up from Segunda to La Liga, and we've hit 10th, 11th. I think they're currently 9th. Osasuna quite close to Europe, so they're a team which the main objective is avoid relegation and, you know, don't be in that fight. And they've achieved that, to be honest. Stable team. I think the next stage is probably aim to push sort of top 8, sort of be into that region. And this season, definitely they're within a chance of doing that.
Yeah. Do you know how many points separate you from getting like a top 7, top 8? Probably like 3 or 4
I
points.
I think haven't got the table to hand, but yeah, 3 or 4 points, and will be within reach of the, I think is Europa League spots, Conference
Yeah.
League spots. You're fighting teams like Bilbao, Villarreal, and Betis, even Rayo Vallecano this season are having an incredible season. So Sevilla and Valencia, luckily, they're teams that have dropped in form this season. They're not doing as well, otherwise they'll be in the mix. So it is Osasuna's chance to really push the last few games and get some crucial points. Because on the back of reaching our Copa del Rey final, if then Osasuna can go on and secure European football, it'll be an incredible season.
Mm. Well, we spoke about how well run of a club Osasuna is because they are one of the only 4 left social run clubs in Spain. The other ones are Madrid, obviously Barcelona, and Athletic Club. And we hear a lot of horror stories on how different clubs are run, especially with what Chelsea is going through right now. As a Londoner, you can relate. Even with Valencia, the ownership just comes in and just tears the club up to shreds. These clubs with huge histories. And Kevin, like, how much do you think being a socio-run club has, impacted the club, and what do you think about social-run clubs for the future?
I think clearly it shows it can be successful, to be honest. Bilbao, Real Madrid, successful clubs. Barcelona too, of course. It will be good to see, say, more teams run sort of to the same level. I think with Osasuna, a team that hasn't got as the resources of, say, those sort of top 3 teams. It's proven that it can be run sort of as a socially run club by the fans. Teams that are run with sort of with the owner, we can see it can be easily exploited, and unfortunately, Osasuna have been caught up in controversies and in financial difficulties sort of in the past. I think, as we spoke about, that stability that they've managed over the last, I want to say, 4 to 5 years is testament to the system that it can work if done correctly. So yeah, it would be good to see sort of more teams sort of run in the same way.
Yeah. And
But
speaking
then
about,
don't you? Oh,
yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah,
Rose.
I was
I was
about
just
to
gonna
ask you,
ask.
Farooq, man. Especially with teams like Valencia, like especially this season, do you see Valencia going down? And if they do go down, do you see the management completely abandon Valencia?
I think Valencia will stay because I think right now they got out of the relegation zone based on goal difference. I think I
Yeah.
saw that earlier today.
Yep.
So they got out of the relegation zone based on goal difference, and I mean the quality is there. Just being, like honestly, like, even when you look at the Valencia squad, like there is a couple of players there that you still feel that are too good to be relegated. But then eventually, we've seen this happen, with some teams, and when you think you're too good to be relegated, you eventually, reality hits you hard. Well, I think they're in with a chance, but I want to believe that that quality would just see them just about, I don't know, maybe on goal difference, maybe by 1 point, something like just that a great escape. You understand? Well, I do think if they get relegated, like Peter Lim, I think would jump the ship. I think honestly, I think that's the thing. But I just wanted to actually ask Kevin something, if that answers your question, Jacob. So actually, Kevin, the point is, you guys, pointed out about the fact of being social owned and doing it right or doing it wrong. But then eventually we see that football is getting much greedy and greedy every day. You understand? Eventually, to be able to maintain that, because the point is, we spoke about players like, for example, you talked about how proud you and the whole, Pamplona region are of someone like, David Garcia, for example. But then it will take just, chicken change for a Premier League team to, pick him out of the team, you understand? And that's a huge gap to plug for a team like Osasuna. That might be the difference between, battling for relegation or being a mid-table team, you understand? So I don't know, like, do you have the fear, like, of that, okay, football is getting so greedy and, like, being a social run club might not be the way anymore. Eventually, you either have to, sell your soul to the devil and get in touch with the billionaires, or, I don't know, be a state-owned club, or I don't know, do you feel like the end is coming near for this kind of establishments?
You could say that, but then you see other teams sort of that aren't run, say like Osasuna, and they're having difficulties competing with sort of you look at Valencia, for example, as we just spoke about, sort of more traditionally owned, you could say, and they're in trouble. They haven't been able to sort of compete or be where they should be. To be honest, Osasuna have made or have a history of producing strong players. You look at and it's a system that's worked for them. To be honest, you may recall players like Nacho Monreal from Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
He came from Osasuna's Cantera system. Again, very sort of successful. Cesar Azpilicueta, he came from Osasuna's Cantera. Javi Martinez, he went on to achieve sort of good things with Bayern Munich. So it's worked for Osasuna, and to be honest, I'm not worried. I think they're running a way that obviously we're not talking about Premier League here, we're talking about La Liga, and I feel like each team is so well balanced, to be honest, within a Liga. Certainly where Osasuna are, and you look at the teams around them, they are able to compete, I'd say. It's a good point, Farouk. I mean, to really push and hit those European spots. Real Madrid and Barca do it, but then you're looking at their history, completely different club, but you're looking at the history and sort of all the revenue they bring in that Osasuna don't necessarily have, or don't have. What will they need to do to sort of get to the next step? I think stick to what they know. To be honest, as I said, the proud people. If you look to try and shift that, it's a big cultural shift as well. So it will take time to sort of bed that in and maybe destabilize a few things. We're in a cup final, so we're doing something right.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point. And I think at the moment the fans are happy. The results are going Osasuna's way. We've put in some really good performances and not so good performances, to be honest, as always happens. But it's positive, and the club is on the up. So
yeah, I think I can understand your take, actually, because considering the fact that at least for the past 4 seasons we've seen stability from Osasuna, and I think they finished 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, in the past 4 seasons, which it's the very definition of stability, and also you're considering the modern stadium as also the way it looks, the future looks really bright. So yeah, I mean, as you said, like in the larger scope of La Liga, and honestly, like when you were saying this, actually, I just kind of pictured it in my head, and it made a lot of sense. As you said, like when you look around the teams that Osasuna are actually competing with, you understand, because they're in competing with the Premier League, and they're in competing with Real Madrid and Barcelona. So it actually, when you look at it from that perspective, you see that Osasuna is thriving, and the future looks very, very bright for them, actually, in that aspect.
I'm just going to read a couple of comments. We have Dennis here. Hey, Dennis. He says, man, my Atleti school friends bailing were bailing my line last night, and saying that they were second in La Liga, and saying that Real Madrid fans will probably lose against Osasuna, and you'll have the same season as us, because it doesn't look very positive against City, Oh man.
Okay,
Have you?
can I just pose a question to Kevin from that. So Kevin, I don't, as you said as well, like, we spoke earlier, and because of your, family, uh, I don't know, affiliations, you also follow Real Madrid closely. So I don't know, how much do you think is on the line going into Saturday, by the way? I think, Jacob, I jumped the line, but I just wanted, to follow up on that question.
I I would say the Champions League means more to Real Madrid than the Copa del Rey. And from Osasuna's point of view, yeah, prioritize the Champions League. Play a second team against us. I also know what Ancelotti thinks. And I believe the Copa del Rey is the one cup he hasn't won. And his cabinet's big enough, but I know it's a cup he'll want to chase. So obviously Real Madrid, they have to compete and they have to win every single trophy that they're competing for. That is the standard of the club. So I know against Real Sociedad, perhaps hindered by injuries or squad rotation, thinking of the Copa del Rey and the Champions League games. I don't know. You could argue the league is lost, but I think Real Madrid, they have to play a top team against Osasuna. They can't underestimate Osasuna, because Osasuna are going to be fighting for their lives to win a trophy. They've got a sniff of silverware. We haven't won a major trophy sort of in our history, to be honest. So we want this badly. So Real Madrid, lots of experience in cup finals. So we'll see what Ancelotti does, to be fair. But in my view, he's got to go for 100% for both of them, to be honest with you. And we could sort of see that he maybe not thinking about the league as much based on the result that came out. Same with Arrasate. We played Barcelona a few days ago. He played a team, gave a debut to a couple of players, and rotated the team. They didn't do too badly, Osasuna. They lost narrowly with 10 men, but it was a game that could have been 4 or 5. But we're thinking about the cup final. I assume Ancelotti is as well.
Yeah. We already know
Jacob,
what
can you
Ancelotti. Oh, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe you wanna also give your answer, from a Madrid perspective to the question as well, considering what Kevin just laid right to in the front of our eyes here, because the point is, literally, this is also Osasuna's season on the line. You win, you get a ticket to the Europa League, and you have the first trophy in your history. You understand? This is literally everything, that they envisioned, when they came back up, to build the stability and, the whole, promoting youths, the whole, the pride, all the pride that they have, in the Basque region, so how big of a game do you see such also? Is it just, the preparation for the real deal?
Yeah, man. The game is going to be huge. It's going to be a really tightly fought match. I'm actually very scared. Maybe a tiny bit as scared as the Man City game, but I'm kind of relieved with the way Ancelotti handled the match preview. So he did say that he's going to put out the strongest 11 that he can and go all out for the win. So by no means is he like taking it easy for this game.
Yeah. That's only fair, honestly. I think that's the right approach, because it's a final eventually, so it doesn't really matter. With all due respect to Osasuna, like, playing Man City is a very huge task, but a final is a final. Honestly, you just have to. And these are games that, honestly, form does not matter. The form, the quality, because it's just players can go into Super Saiyan mode for just 90 minutes and get this job done, and that's just it. Like, so. And honestly, I feel like Osasuna has a lot on the line as well. This is what, maybe we are also, oblivious to, honestly. But as Kevin just laid them out, we have a lot on the line, they have a lot to gain in that game, honestly, because I'm just imagining myself right now. Imagine Osasuna wins the Copa, Europa League, and the first cup. I mean, it's a 1 week break in Pamplona, man. It's a 1 week break.
That's it, yeah.
Not just in Pamplona, Farouk. I think it's going to be celebrated in all of Real Madrid's rivals. So Athletic Atletico are going to enjoy. Barcelona especially are going to go all out and party all night. Yeah, you were saying, Kevin?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I would say it's not just Osasuna fans, it will be the rest of Spain because they love an underdog story. And in this
True,
case,
true.
Osasuna are the underdog. But they're not in the final for nothing. You know, we've beaten Athletic Bilbao, top team, Sevilla. As I said, they haven't had the best season, but they're still top team. We saw them knock out Manchester United in Europe, so you can't underestimate what Osasuna have done to get to the final, whilst maintaining a solid position in La Liga. So we haven't beaten Real Madrid for a long, long time. So the odds are against us, but we hope, as I said, on the form we've shown in the cup, they've just hung in there and they've battled through. Each of our games have gone to extra time, and we've won in extra time. So that Osasuna's sort of phrase is "nunca se rinde," which is never give up. So we will take it to extra time and find that extra, I don't know, extra percent, whatever it needs to sort of get across the line. And yeah, it's going to be a great match for sure. I think it will be close. I hope it doesn't go to penalties because yeah, I won't be able to watch it. But yeah, it's going to be an intriguing game.
Well, in that way, our clubs are very similar, isn't it? So Osasuna's motto is very similar to Real Madrid's hasta el final.
So penalty.
Yeah. And Mo also asks in the comments, he asks if you could pick one player between Chimi Avila and David Garcia, who would you pick?
Oh, who would I pick to play, or who do I prefer?
If one player had to leave, who would you send out?
Oh, I can't answer that, man. No, it's difficult, because David Garcia, as I said, is a player who has come up through the ranks of Osasuna. Osasuna sort of made him, shown faith with him with the youth team, and have brought him through, and he's earned his place in the team, in the national team. Chimi Avila, from Argentina, sort of played a little bit in Spain, but in Segunda División, but probably made his name with Osasuna. Had a horrible injury on his left knee, which wiped him out a season. He came back, had the same injury on his other knee, was out for another season. But in that time, he embodies what Osasuna is. He will fight. He will sort of go for every 50-50. He will any sort of angle or something just to get a slight advantage. He will exploit to the maximum, and he scores our goals. Something that we we do struggle with, unfortunately. So I'll say from that point of view, I'll say let's keep Chimi Avila.
Good choice. But it was a loaded question, yeah?
A loaded question, yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah, and that's for the chat. Let's go on to talk a little bit about Arrasate and the way Osasuna are set up heading into this game, especially. So, how do you think? Is it just going to be a low block like we usually see, or how are you guys going to play out?
Well, Arrasate, he plays 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. I think to sort of we have to stay in the game for the first half hour, and I think that will probably need like a 4-4-2 formation. He will try and I want him to be brave, and I want him to play our attacking players, and just to show Osasuna's intent and to really go for it. I think if we do keep a low block and park the bus shall we say, then we're in trouble. But Arasate doesn't play like that. He does play on the front foot. He likes to press. He likes to push and counter attack. And I think that we can play that game on Saturday. We do have a few injuries, particularly in defence. As I said, we're missing David Garcia, which is our stalwart defender, and on our right back, which against Vinicius Junior, that's not what you want. You don't want to be playing your second choice right back. But yeah, I think he will play, say, a 4-4-2. He changes his teams all the time, and you can see over the last 4 or 5 games, it's been a very sort of different starting 11. But I think we'll see Herrera in goal, which that will be Herrera is probably in Benzema's head. He has saved 3 of the last penalties that Benzema's taken against him. So it's certainly that battle there, which I'm looking forward to. And Herrera, when we last played Madrid, he had a fantastic game. We lost the game, but he sort of kept Vinicius quiet the whole match. So we're hoping for a repeat of that on Saturday. But yeah, I think Arasate will show faith in how he's played all season and in the cup, and just play on the front foot. I hope he doesn't show respect to you guys. I hope he does press. He doesn't sit back, and he just attacks Madrid, because we've seen Madrid can be exploited. They do have weaknesses in defence, and I'll be looking at sort of that left back position. Yeah, I think that's what we'll see on the final.
All right. Okay. But how about goals, man? How are you guys gonna come up with the goals? Of course, you said the match you're gonna try to push it to extra time, where you're the strongest mentally and physically. But if Osasuna had to score like a really important goal, where would it come from? Would it come from open play with Avia just tucking it in, or would it be from a set piece?
I think it will come from open play. It could come from anywhere, but most of our goals have come from open play. As I said, I hope we play an attacking team, and I hope Arasate is brave. Our best players at the moment are probably Abde. He's on loan from Barcelona, but he's been incredible for us. I really like him as a player. He's quite exciting to watch. So I hope Osasuna can do something to try and sign him in the summer. Chimi Avila, of course, he has to start. He has been sort of a little bit injured, so I don't think he's 100%. He did start or play against Barcelona, but I would love him for him to start. Budimir, he's been a solid forward for us this year. So I hope those 3 players are sort of in the starting 11 for sure. As I said, Arasate likes to rotate, but I want those 3 to be in as a fan, and sort of just to give us a bit of excitement when we see that team sheet come out. But yeah, I think if obviously the ideal scenario is push Madrid, going to not concede early. This has probably been quite pessimistic of me. And as an Osasuna fan, you're always thinking the worst. But yeah, push early from the beginning. Keep going to half time in the game, either 0-0 or obviously winning 1-0. That would be ideal. And sort of try and defend from there. But yeah, our goals are going to come from either Abde, who has scored sort of throughout the competition, or Chimi.
Well, yeah, I don't envy like the chance to see Carvajal versus Abde. Oh man, Carvajal is probably gonna have a long night. But Farooq, do you remember like one Osasuna player that has carried you the most? For me, it's been Ante Budimir, man. Like that guy has been a menace throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, when Kevin actually was, saying take the match out to, the extra times and all that, and not showing too much respect. Actually, I don't know if you've seen a lot of Real Madrid matches this season, but I think Jacob will agree with me that we are very slow starters. We literally sleep for the first 20-25 minutes in the game, unless if we by some chance score some goal early. That's when we actually start to play. So actually, I was thinking, like considering, I mean, players like Warriors, like let's not say players like, but Warriors like Avia and Budimir, like I mean, if you have the right service for them, hitting hard and hitting her early will be the right approach in my opinion. Like maybe even going direct, like get, I don't know, Azuli to go past Carvajal once, throw in a good ball, and our defenders cannot, they cannot defend aerial balls even if they like defended on it. So I think I'm actually, a bit more skeptical about the first 15-20 minutes, honestly, because as you said, with direct wingers, and let's not forget, the dynamic Moncola in the middle of the park. I was also, if he can win some key battles here and there in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, it might be a very, nervy start for us, honestly. So as you said, Jacob, Butemir or Avia, whoever starts between them, we might be in for, a very difficult start to the game, because we always, and that's been our MO this season. We start games very sluggishly. So I think if we can weather the storm for the first 15-20 minutes, I think the game doesn't go to extra time, honestly. But I will just be, very skeptical of that first 20-25 minutes.
Oh wow, man. Especially like with Man City looming, I just don't want to go to extra time. Ah, score
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
actually, this is the thing, actually, Jacob, like how difficult would it be? I mean, it's almost impossible, because really, like, I think even Kevin will also attest to this. I don't know what he thinks about that, but Real Madrid is a team that is built for Champions League. You understand? We literally live and breathe for Champions League. You understand? So I can understand because we've seen it in the previous games, it's difficult to motivate players when there is nothing to fight for in the league. You understand? And also, when you look at these players, like, will they look down on the Copa? I'm not sure if they would or if they wouldn't. Honestly, I think they're all winners, so they want to win everything winnable. And as Kevin said, like in the second stint of Ancelotti, this is a trophy he hasn't won in the second stint, so he also want to win that. But they have a tie against Man City, and they might. I mean, at least I will give them a bit of I'll cut them some slack if for the first 20-25 minutes they're off focus, thinking about the whole City thing, honestly, because that's what they want to do. These are the games they came to Real Madrid to play, honestly, you understand? So that's the thing, man. How can you? I don't know, Kevin. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be difficult, or do you think it's going to be easy to keep the players, focused on the game or the task at hand, not looking ahead to the game on Tuesday?
These players, I mean, you mean Real Madrid players?
Yeah.
I think Real Madrid players, they've been in cup finals before. They've been in these situations before. They know what it means to play for Real Madrid. You have to be sort of, you can't be thinking about Manchester City. I mean, if you gave Real Madrid the option, would you rather win against City and drop the Copa del Rey? They'll probably all tell you yes, that's what we prefer. But they have to go for both those trophies and go for wins on both. I know Real Madrid's history in the Copa del Rey, alongside Bilbao and Barcelona, they're one of the most successful. But over recent years, it's not a trophy they've been particularly. They've won that often. To be honest, I don't believe.
Last win was in 2014. So, it's 9 years now.
Not 9 years, right? So that sort of shows you where their priorities lie, I suppose. So listen, if they've got one eye on the Champions League, then that would suit Osasuna, of course, thinking from a selfish point of view. But yeah, they have to go for the win for sure. And if I was Ancelotti, you said they start slow. I'll say kill the game in the first half an hour, and then protect your key players. And Osasuna will know that. Osasuna will know, and Arrasate will know this is our opportunity. They have a big game in a few days' time. No doubt they're going to be thinking about that. So I think Osasuna will look to use that to their advantage. So it's that it's an opportunity for us, I would say, But yeah, Real Madrid have to go for both. They're players who have played at the top level, so they should be able to play in both ties with full 100% focus. So yeah, that's what I think. I think regardless of what Tuesday is, they're gonna play a full team and go for the game 100%. You know, they could, from their point of view, this could have been against Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. Then it would have been a little bit different. I'm not gonna sort of, you know, say anything, you know, negative about Osasuna, but Osasuna are not a Barcelona or Atletico Madrid, so that's an opportunity for Real Madrid as well. So so yeah, it's they've got to go for it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the idea of like killing the game in 30 minutes is like gonna go work out for a club like Real Madrid at the current version of Real Madrid. Because when we do score a goal, we tend to sit back and then invite pressure, and that's like Osasuna's opportunity to hit back. So if you can equalize before halftime, I feel like it's gonna be a long 90 minutes or even 120.
The thing is, we know Real Madrid can go the long game as well. You know, it could be 0-0 in the 90th minute, and Real Madrid could pop up with a late goal. We've seen their late goals, and what they do in cups. But I think Faruk touched upon it earlier. Real Madrid are a different team in the Champions League. They just find something within them, and they just sort of pull out performances like no other. So I think I think you can sort of isolate both games, and Real Madrid will do the job, be professional, and just put Man City to one side. I think, and I think it's Ancelotti's job to do that, and ensure the players are fully focused on Saturday. So yeah, that's an opportunity for Osasuna too, for sure.
Yeah. Before we like head into the way Real Madrid are gonna line up, I'm just gonna read a few of the comments. So Scott says, "Can't wait for the game against Man City." But Scott, we have to like focus on this Copa del Rey. Like we haven't won it for almost 10 years now, a decade, and we just have to go all out. And like the players, like Ancelotti said, be focused on this game, be at the top of our game. And Tuesday is gonna come, and regardless, and it's still gonna be a really exciting game on Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you live. And
actually, you see, this is the thing I'm trying to talk about, Kevin. You see, even the fans in the chat, you know, like are speaking about the fact that, you know, we're so eager for Tuesday. Honestly, like I wouldn't lie to you, Kevin. I also am eager. I wish Saturday did not exist. I wouldn't lie to you, 100%. I wish Saturday did not exist and we were just moving straight to City. You understand? So it's not about, you know, the Osasuna or the Copa itself, but it's just, you know, that idea of that giant game, you know, it's so difficult, honestly. But then the good thing is that we're fans, like we're not being paid millions to be the players on the pitch. So I hope it's different for the players.
To be fair, as I said, where it sits on the calendar suits Osasuna. It doesn't suit Real Madrid, and it's just interesting to see the Copa del Rey final is when it is, and the FA Cup final, which is what the Copa del Rey is, the Spanish version is much later. So that sort of plays into City's hands. So yeah, that's interesting. But listen, if it gives us a half a chance, then I'm going to take it. I want to say from Real Madrid fans' point of view, they probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably are too confident that you can get a win from Osasuna. I mean, the records against us and the stats sort of tell us that Real Madrid should win, but doesn't necessarily mean they will win. Yeah, it is quite fascinating how we're set up for sure.
Oh, definitely, man.
I mean,
most fans think like the game is for granted and we're totally gonna win, but we like a surprises on the head cards, maybe.
Actually, and the thing is, you guys know, like, you know, when it comes to finals, honestly, it's just a one-off game, honestly. Like, this is not like the usual league game you may have at home and everything. No. So honestly, for finals, like, and you're totally right. Like we Real Madrid fans, I think we get a bit carried away. I myself included, honestly, like for this game, but it's a final. We've seen stranger things happen before. So, I mean, as Jacob said, but hopefully we're not in for a surprise. But I mean, a bit of a scare, and we still navigate tricky waters.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget Osasuna at the Bernabeu. I think it was 1-1, wasn't it? So and Herrera saved the
2
penalty.
seasons ago.
No, I think this season. Was it this season?
Wasn't it last when he saved the penalty? Was it this?
Yeah.
I thought it was last.
Well,
It was last season. Last season when Benzema was like firing on all cylinders.
Well, I think last season in El Sadar, you beat us 3-1. It could have been 5-1, but Herrera saved 2 Benzema penalties. This season in the Bernabeu, I feel it was 1-1, but then you beat us in El Sadar 2-0. And both of those matches, they were very close, to be fair. Very tight. And I think, as you said, cup games, anything could happen. And Osasuna, they have shown this in the cup run they've had so far. They can grind out results. You probably would have betted Bilbao to go through or Sevilla, and Osasuna are in the final. So it's I wouldn't underestimate Osasuna by any means. I'm well up for it. I'm super excited. So it's not every year we get to experience a cup final. So certainly we're super pumped, and I'm sure the players are too.
Yeah. You're right, Kevin. Actually, it was this season at the Bernabeu. It's 1-1. I just checked my phone right now, and Benzema missed the penalty after Garcia was sent off again. So 3 straight penalties missed.
And Herrera saved it. So Herrera's in Benzema's head.
Not a lot of people can do that, man.
Exactly.
Would you guys want to say preserve Benzema and Modric and Vinicius and save him for City, or you would play a full team?
Oh, hell no, man. We need those players because they're not capable of getting any sort of result when those people are out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kevin, you just listed the 3 players that will literally, are Real Madrid. Take those 3 players out, and we are literally a mid-table team, man.
Yeah. From Osasuna's point of view, they see Real Madrid, they see threats everywhere. To be fair, you look at Asensio. He scored against us in El Sadar, and I think there was I think Alvarez. He made his debut against us, and he did really well. So
2 assists for him in that game.
Sorry.
I feel like Alvaro had 2 assists in that game when he came out. Was it 1?
Exactly, 2 assists. So from Osasuna's point of view, whether it's Benzema or whoever, you guys are still a threat, and still very dangerous and capable of winning whoever you field. So we're wary of that too. Although you guys might not feel it, we're certainly will be cautious of anyone who plays for Real Madrid.
All right. Sunil in chat, he has a fun one for you, Kevin. So he asks, Simi Avila or Gonzalo Higuain in their prime?
In Osasuna's team?
Yeah.
Jimmy Avila.
Wow.
All day long. I think Jimmy Avila, from what I've seen, as I said before, he just embodies what Osasuna is. He fights for every tackle. He's sprinting up and down the pitch. He's defending. He's attacking. He's scoring goals. Higuain, I didn't really see that when he was at Madrid, to be fair. Incredible goal scorer, of course, but probably not the player we would want at a team like Osasuna. So, Jimmy Avila.
Nice. And more for you, Farah, this one. So, Sunida's thoughts on the Bellingham rumors. Is it a done deal?
Bro, I've said my fair share of this, man. We've been burnt last year and we learned lessons real hard. Especially given the fact that I am not, too keen on Jude Bellingham, not because he's a bad player or anything, because I feel like we need to plug other gaps in the squad, but not until I see, Comunicado official, I ain't
Yeah.
believing jack shit, bro. I ain't believing jack shit. We've seen that with Kylian Mbappe. Oh, he's coming to Madrid. He's going nowhere. He has a poster of Cristiano in his room. He has this. He has that. Nah, we ain't doing this no more, man. Not until we see official sentences, man. We ain't taking that.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess okay, Danielson is in the comments. He asks, what's the update on Alaba? Is he back in training?
So I mean, David Alaba is back, but he's not. I think he's not being considered, for this game. Although like Carlo Ancelotti has named the full squad list, but that's more of because I think you have to name all your players for the cup final. So it doesn't mean that they're all gonna play. Yeah, but I mean, we are looking towards Tuesday for David Alaba. That's the hope at least. But let's see how it goes. But yeah, David Alaba is somewhat back. He has trained and there's been no problem. That's what's
Yep.
been reported so far. So let's see. But this game might come too soon. Well, hopefully for Tuesday he should be, back in the starting XI.
Yep. And Danielson also says, I totally see Osasuna scoring from an open play in this game because our defense is being nothing short of in shambles this season, guys. And yeah, that's right. So, Kevin, have you seen Rudiger's playing at all?
I think Rudiger's hit and miss. To be honest, some days he, certainly from maybe an outsider's point of view, some days I've seen him score. I've seen him sort of get in amongst it and get bloodied nose. He's a sprinter. He's very fast, and he's aggressive. Whether he's always sort of at that top level, I don't know. But I think if he's not on form, then and if he plays, then happy days.
Oh,
I
man.
think I think Nacho is probably my pick over Rudiger.
Yeah. To be fair, like every single fan, especially Sunaid on the panel, he's like a die-hard, I'm not going to say Nacho fan, but a Rudiger hater. So he will tell you, man, that Rudiger is not Real Madrid quality and that he has to leave next season.
I think he's quite erratic. I can see him getting sent off or something. So he can be a liability, I suppose. He's that kind of player. He just plays on the edge, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, against a team like Osasuna, you have to be physical, and I think he is. To be honest, he won't get bullied, and this is what Chimi Avila does. He sort of gets in your face, he's aggressive. He plays on the edge as well. So maybe you need a player like him with a bit maybe less finesse, and maybe a player with more finesse against a team like City.
Yep. Yep. Well, on that note, Farooq, do you think we should go for the Real Madrid lineups? You can take it away. Go start with the attack.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a game that I think we're gonna go for the jugular, in this game, honestly. So I think we're gonna start with a very attacking lineup. I expect, Karim Benzema up top, because he's been rested at the weekend and he's been rested, given that we have no news of any discomfort. So I mean, it's just a rest to, reduce fatigue and all that. So I expect, Karim Benzema as the lone forward, and the wingers will be, Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo. So we should expect some fireworks from the Brazilians, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from Karim
But
Benzema
then,
as well, like, we want to like really
sorry,
get him. Okay, sure. Yeah.
I was just gonna say something, but I think you have something to add in. So just say it, because I'm gonna go back to Kevin. So you can we can finish this and we can go to Kevin.
Sure, man. Like, no, I just rather than like Rodrigo getting really back into form or Vinny like playing his heart out, I just want to see Karim Benzema, score a couple of goals, get his confidence back, and that will really prepare him up for City.
Yeah, that's very valid, man. That's very valid. Hopefully, well, I mean, I think the thing also is that although we always say this, that it's not easy, to switch on and switch off, but I just feel like, there is something that is going on somewhere, with a player like Karim Benzema, especially when it comes to the Champions League. It seems like they just sort of have a know-how for these things. But yeah, man, I mean, well, I mean, in the games Karim has played, though, he's been really good, man, honestly. Because
Yeah.
the only problem that has always been that he's been rested for the away games. But I think he had 3 hat tricks in the last month. So I think Karim is getting back into the form that we need him to be on. But actually, my question was going to be to Kevin about the whole Vinicius thing. I don't know what the people of Osasuna and Pamplona think about Vini, but what do you think of Vini, Kevin? How do you see Vini? Like, is he just a crybaby or the next Neymar, or I don't know. I mean, obviously, as you alluded to in the beginning, where you say you want to see Vini in the Premier League, he's a fantastic footballer. But these days it's there's the excellence there, and there's a bit of the whininess. Honestly, for me, it reminds me of Neymar, but this is even more exaggerated than what we had with Neymar. I don't know, maybe because now the league is more, it has a lot of more following than when Neymar was there. I don't know, but when I mean following, I mean social media presence. Because I mean, I don't remember, Neymar being treated like this. I don't know. What's your take on the whole Vini thing?
Well, we know Neymar is Vinicius's. He said it a few times. Is his idol, I think.
Yeah.
So you could whether he idolizes him from Neymar sort of other side of the game, I don't know. I think Vinicius probably in time, people know he can be provoked, and he can react, and I think possibly Neymar has got this over time, but it's taken a while. He has to learn to sort of control that side of his game. I think keep his head cool, because so many times he gets booked, not for fouls but for dissent to the referee. And La Liga referees, they love giving yellow cards out. We've seen that. So I think if Vinicius keeps his head sort of in a place, he can sort of add a lot more to his game, because a team like Osasuna will know we can sort of exploit that side of Vinicius's game. If a few hard tackles going at the start, or he doesn't really get his way, we can get under his skin, and he's going to react, and he's going to get booked, and then that could be a point of sort of a point of exploitation from that thing, which isn't really the way to do. But this is how some of these games really go, and La Liga teams do like to sort of intimidate players, particularly like if you go into El Sadar, for example, they were really hone in to sort of that. I think Vinicius, to be fair, he hasn't got an attitude sort of problem as such. He just gets provoked, and it's quite easy to push those buttons. I know he has been targeted this year in La Liga, and we've seen quite a few headlines. Possibly the ugly side of La Liga. We know he has been on the receiving end of racist chants, etc. So how does any sort of player deal with that? It has to sort of come from the top. But I think if Ancelotti is the right man to probably coach him into sort of calming him and telling him, just play football, have faith in your ability, and you will prevail. So I think he just needs to get that side sort of locked in, and we've seen him develop massively over the last 2 or 3 years. So I think that's the next side of his game, to sort of work on his mentality.
Yeah, I mean those are very valid points, honestly. Yeah, I mean, let's see, and I think also we also always forget that he's young, and I think that's also what you alluded to, that he has to develop that side of his game as well. So yeah, hopefully we see. I mean, hopefully if he achieves what Neymar has achieved, that's a very good thing. But hopefully he can go better than that, and maintain his head, and focus on what happens on the pitch rather than what happens off of it.
Yeah.
I think it's close, and I think he'll do what Neymar has achieved. Score goals for Brazil and win European cups at club level, and he's doing that already. So I think he's well on course to sort of becoming a Brazil great, to be fair. And I think he's actually underrated. When people talk about the best wingers in the world, Vinicius is often, I don't know how, but he's overlooked. You know, when you talk about Ballon d'Or and stuff, he's sort of nowhere near where he deserves to be. So yeah, we'll see what the next few years sort of bring.
Yeah. Sunil says the same thing. He says, Kevin shares my same sentiment about the Vinny thing. This is a learning process for him. But to be fair, Kevin, like when you were talking about the Ballon d'Or thing, were you referring to your friends not mentioning Vinny's name? Because in the UK, of course, there's a lot of Premier League bias.
Oh, 100%.
Mm.
And this is why it was great to see Real Madrid win the Champions League last year. You know, Man City, the greatest team in the world, Liverpool and Klopp, the greatest team in the world. Real Madrid sort of comes to town and knocks them both out. It was just incredible, just to sort of put the Premier League sort of back in its place. You know, you can't be too confident and you know, cocky and you have to do your talking on the football pitch. And don't get me wrong, Man City and Liverpool, incredible teams, but when it comes to it, sort of Real Madrid were superior. So you look at sort of if you sort of compare sort of La Liga and going off on a bit of a sort of tangent here, but comparing La Liga to the Premier League, you know, La Liga teams we've seen can come up against good Premier League teams and defeat them. We saw it this year with Sevilla and Manchester United. Sevilla having a terrible season, Manchester United under sort of the new manager, etc., arguably having one of their better seasons of late, and you know they got knocked out. We saw Villarreal win a few seasons ago, and before that, you know, Sevilla winning consistently. So, Premier League, the Premier League has incredible pull now. They can pull in the best managers and best players, but does it create the best football? Probably a conversation for another day. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of bias towards the Premier League. Probably unfair bias.
Mm. Well, on that note, Farooq, let's do something different today. I'm gonna let you choose for Real Madrid we line up with a 4-3-3, right? So we have three midfielders. I'm gonna let you choose two midfielders, and we'll let Kevin choose the other one. We'll find out about which midfielder he actually dreads to face. Yeah.
Okay, I'll choose Fede and Modric, and let's Kevin choose the last one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Farooq?
I choose Fede and Modric.
Right, okay. I'll say Tchouaméni.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That was a bold choice, man.
So no
No
Kroos?
Toni Kroos.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Real Madrid need to. You spoke about Bellingham earlier.
Yeah.
I think Real Madrid need to show some faith in the next generation of midfielders. So why not? If the game doesn't go Real Madrid's way, I'm sure Kroos might make an appearance. But Tchouaméni, he can perform. We've seen it. Give him an opportunity to sort of come out. Do you think Ancelotti will give Kroos 90 minutes against Osasuna and then another 90 v Man City? I don't know, but why not Tchouaméni?
I mean, why not is the question, man. I'm pretty sure we would all like to see, and it's actually a very good combination. The physicality of Tchouaméni and
Bro,
the tech.
we don't want to see, man. We don't want to see. The point is, Tchouaméni, as we spoke of in the preview of the last game and in the post-match, has not shown us anything spectacular. The point is, I understand that Toni Kroos is not in the best form, but I believe that the ceiling of even forget the ceiling, just that experience, that know-how, you know, the ability to get job done, you know, the job done when it matters the most. I mean, Toni Kroos has more than earned his right and dues and respect and whatever it is, you understand. And honestly, I don't know if Kevin has seen a lot of our games this season. Tchouaméni has been, since the World Cup, he hasn't been spectacular. I mean, he has been underwhelming At best, he has been average. At best.
Come on, man. Like
Honestly, so
I would say
that's what.
he's
Yeah.
been average, man. I don't think he's like at best. He's not been terrible at all. He just sits at the back, just covers his defense, does his job, passes a few things. But he's at nowhere close to Toni Kroos. I agree, but we might
does he
actually
often
have.
get 90 minutes or is he a substitution?
When Tchouaméni is on, he does get 90 minutes. Otherwise, if he's a
Okay.
substitute, it's a very rare, like 10-minute here and there.
Well, you know what, Kevin? Actually, I'll give you this. I'll give you a midfield of Tchouaméni, Fede, and Kroos. Given the sense that Luka Modric just came back into training, I think the man is 38 years old, so to preserve him. So as you actually totally are right, Kevin, in the sense that would you give Kroos 90 against Osasuna and 90 against City? Hell no, that's not gonna happen. And I think that's the rationale behind what Kevin selected there. So I will just give you this then. We start with Kroos, and he plays 60, and Modric plays the last 40 or something like that, or however it is. So I think maybe a swap between the two of them, and Tchouaméni can play given the injuries and like thereof. But I mean, yeah, let's just leave it at that.
All right. Well, the rest of the team is basically lined up for us, right? Either forcefully through injury, but Alaba is training. Do you think he's going to feature for?
I mean, the point is the alternative is to play Tony Rudiger.
Yeah.
But I would choose Tony Rudiger. I will choose Tony Rudiger to play this game because I feel like every ounce of bro, I don't know, man. I just want Alaba to be safe somewhere, man. Lock him in a safe and bring him out on Tuesday, man. Honestly, because having Rudiger and Militao come up against, don't misunderstand. No one is gonna stop Erling Haaland. I mean, no matter how good you are, he's gonna just do his thing, But the point is, at least you should stand a chance in the first place. And honestly, I feel like a combination of Militao and Rudiger stands no fucking chance, bro. No chance. At least I think with Alaba, I don't know, with that leadership and experience and as well the know-how that the likes of Kroos and Modric brings, he will find a way, to try to do something. I don't know, at least to try to organize the defense in such a way that they can deal with whatever it is that they can. As I said again, it's impossible to stop him, but at least you just have to pick something. So let's just let's play with Rudiger and Militao against Avia and Budemir, man. If they can defend Avia and Budemir, then I mean they should just retire and just go back to wherever it is they came from.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I just want to read out one of Sunit's comments. He says, Farouk is scarred for life. What Rudiger does to a man. Yeah, so just for reference,
It
Kevin.
could be
So,
worse.
I mean, me and Farouk, we used to talk a bit more positively about Rudiger in the previews maybe a month ago. And then right now, it's just we can't stand the sight of the man.
Oh no.
And the thing
Well,
is,
he.
so Militao also has been on a really bad run of form. He's been making a lot of mistakes back in the defense, and it's just not looking good at all for the defense right now for Real Madrid. And like Farouk said, let's just hope these
So
guys
what's
can get the
happening
job.
with?
What's happening with?
Sorry, Jacob. Go on.
Oh no, I was just hoping that these guys can, pull off a decent 90 minutes. I just don't want to see anything spectacular or anything. Just a decent something is what I ask. Yeah. What do you
So what's
saying?
happening with your left back situation and Ferland Mendy and Camavinga?
Oh,
I don't think Camavinga's a left back by trade. So that's and is Monday injured or is he playing? I just haven't seen him, and I've seen that left back sort of position a little bit rotated every other match.
so yeah, Mendy has been missing for most part of the season right now. He just started stepping onto the pitch, but he hasn't touched the ball yet. So it's very unlikely that he will feature against Man City either. So there you go. We only have one left back in the form of Camavinga right now. And it's safe to say he has totally made the spot his own. I actually feel like even if Mendy is back, it's maybe even better to play Camavinga right there in the bigger games. What do you think, Farooq?
That's a huge claim, man. But I see what you're getting at, bro. I mean, I have always said that. I know, Kevin, have you seen Mendy play a lot? I don't know if you've been able to watch him quite often,
Yeah,
Mendy.
I've seen him. Yeah,
So like for me,
he's,
my take on Mendy. Yeah, go on, man.
no, this season, from what I've seen of him, and I know he's been injured, he's not been the same player as last season. I think
Exactly. Yeah.
he's lost his confidence going forward, to be honest, and he has made errors sort of in defence. We've seen that. What's happened there, I don't know. And anything, it could be a whole host of things. I've seen in the market, Real Madrid could potentially put him up for sale, which would be a shame because I did actually quite like him. To be fair, so yeah, we'll see what sort of happens there, I suppose.
Yeah, the thing is that actually I've always felt like Mendy is the best defensive fullback, or maybe one of the best defensive fullback in the world. Honestly, like he doesn't offer that much, as in the attack, but that's fine because he plays just right behind Vinicius, so it's cool. But what's happened now is that, and that's the whole, you summarized it perfectly, Kevin. This season he's lost something, honestly, and even away from that, I think that can also be related to each other as well. He's not been available at all in the key games, in the matters that in the time that it matters the most. Mendy has been missing. Understand? This is why I can understand why Real Madrid might be entertaining, offers for him, because the point is you don't want to have a Ferrari in your garage. It doesn't work, man. I better have a Volkswagen and just get to work. That's the point. You understand? There's no point of having something that it's not useful. So this is the situation. However, I guess to what Jacob is saying is that, which is what we've discussed a lot, is that the football intelligence that Kamavinga has shown this season while playing left back, the way he understands space, because even we could see like when Tony Kroos is playing, like Tony Kroos likes to go drop really deep, into the center back position. When he drops deep, we see like, Kamavinga steps up into the middle of the pitch to plug the gap, that Kroos, evacuates it down, becomes like a 4-man midfield instead of, a 3-man midfield, something like so. And also we see the understanding that he creates with Vinicius Junior, although he's lacking defensively, but that tackling ability of his, like it's always been erratic. Even this season it has been erratic, but compared to last season, it's grown a lot. Obviously, there's still room for improvement, So that tackling ability of his kind of masks the defensive, deficiency that he has as a fullback. So I think that's why, Jacob is actually saying that, yeah, we want to do this. But in my opinion, if I'm gonna play against City at the Etihad, I'd, play Mendy, honestly. But if I'm gonna play against Osasuna in the Copa final, I'll play with Mendy, because the point is, with all due respect to Osasuna, we expected to be on the front foot in this game. You understand? So with a player like Camavinga, I believe that we're gonna have, that the more we'll be more on the front foot compared to having a more defensive-minded player like Mendy.
Yeah, totally, man. And I guess that concludes the team selection because there's no question that Thibaut Courtois is going to start. How are you like?
We're gonna play Los Vasquez as a right back, bro.
Come on.
Yeah, man, we're gonna play Lord Vasquez. Why, man? Why are you discounting Lord Vasquez, man?
I mean, against Abde, come on. It's going to be a long 91. I mean, to be
Yeah, man, I'm
fair,
just
Lord
messing with you.
Vasquez does come turn up well in these bigger games. So does Carvajal, actually.
Exactly, yeah. That Carvalho is made for the big moments, honestly. Like that's the thing. Like Carvalho we have very shitty games, but in this when everything is on the line, like he just finds a way to show up, honestly. So that's the thing. Yeah, he has a way to show up. So yeah, man, it's Carvalho all the way in this final, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that kind of concludes the preview of this podcast, but let's get into the predictions. So, Kevin, we like to do predictions before the match. You want to go first, or Farooq, you want to go first?
I mean, let's have one last question though. Kevin, what do you think is going to be the key battle in this game? I don't know which player against which player or which part of the pitch is gonna, I remember earlier you talked about, you're, very excited about playing, our left side of the pitch because we don't have a left back, something like that, I don't know what do you think is gonna be the key to deciding the game?
Well, you haven't got a left back. We haven't got a right back. So I think the game will be won or lost. I think in the wings. To be honest, our best player Abde, he'll be attacking down the left, and Chimi Avila, I'm sure he'll be down the middle or playing along the right, with either Ruben Garcia or possibly Kike Barra, who's again, a very good player technically. I think the key battle will be down the left side of the pitch from both teams. To be fair, Real Madrid can go left and right. To be honest, with Vinicius and Rodrigo, but I think Vinicius has that. Again, I'm probably wrong, but Vinicius probably has that sort of killer instinct pass. But we've seen Rodrigo; he can do lots of damage to teams as well. So I think Osasuna will be focusing down the left and down the flanks, crossing the ball in to Budimir, or Chimmy, to be fair. But yeah, I think that's where we can exploit Madrid. If we go through the middle, there's going to be a good block there from Madrid, and we're going to have to play some very good football to sort of pick you apart, which is going to be tricky, and it's not how we've played this season. So we're not going to change our strategy, and yeah, we'll be going at you from the flanks, and then we just need to watch our right back position. Probably going to be Moncayola. We've seen Arrasate play Moncayola there, who's a midfielder by trade, but we've seen him play right back a number of times to cover Vidal, who has been injured. So he's going to need lots of cover. Should he play there in the final? He did get terrorized when Real Madrid came to El Sadad, and he needed lots of cover. And if it wasn't for Herrera, it would have been a much different scoreline. So yeah, that's where we need to focus. But to be honest, Madrid could sort of score a goal from any position. This is Osasuna's point of view. You know, just a moment of brilliance or technical quality can just change the game. To be honest, and Madrid, we feel, have that quality. So Osasuna just have to be on the front foot and concentrated the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, fair shot. So do you want to go to the predictions? Take it away, Kevin. What do you think
In terms of predictions, I want to say 1-0 to Osasuna, and it's going to be a penalty scored in the second half.
Oh wow, that was very specific.
Wow.
I got asked why the second half.
I think we're gonna be cautious. It's a cup final. We're gonna be careful. We're just gonna protect that 0-0 into the half time, and then if we have a chance, yeah, it's gonna be maybe a penalty goal, or it's gonna be close to a 1-0. Osasuna's shots about 2, and Real Madrid probably about 10, 15. But Osasuna can do it. You've got to have faith in your team, and I do. They're not in the final through anything else but sort of good results and good performances. So that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go next then. For me, it's gonna come tighter than that. Obviously, like I have to like support a Real Madrid win, but I think it's gonna go to extra time, and it's gonna be a 1-1, and we're gonna like really scramble for the last goal, but then it's gonna head to penalties, man. And of course,
Okay.
we're gonna win on penalties.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm not gonna get that excited when I see a 3-1 victory for Real Madrid, bro. I think we're gonna go 2-0 up, and then like Osasuna gets one back, and the game gets nervy, and our defense starts to shake their pants, and we find outlet and get one more goal and just kill the team and bury the game.
Mm. Well, and there you have it, folks. Before we go, Kevin, do you want to shout out any fun Osasuna channels or Twitter accounts that you follow, so us fans can also follow a bit more about Osasuna?
I follow La Liga London. I
Mhm.
think it's run by Rahul. I think he's predominantly a Villarreal fan. The other Osasuna accounts are predominantly run from Spain and in Spain. I will send you their handles sort of following this. but I think we alluded to it sort of before. There's not a lot of Osasuna fan base in London or in the UK, but certainly a lot of us are sort of scattered around, but predominantly in Spain.
All right. And similarly, guys, if you're still in the chat, I see 6 here. If you haven't already, please do give this video a like and do subscribe to us if you haven't already. And we put out all of our content on Spotify and other audio platforms. Do check us out there. Thank you for all the support that you guys have been giving us so far. But we'd really like to, get to 1,000 subscribers this year by the end of this year. So if you are listening on audio platforms, do come on board to the YouTube channel and give us a subscribe. That'll really, really help us out. Also, follow us on our socials on Instagram and Twitter. All the links are down in the description below. We'll be adding some of the Osasuna fan links that Kevin mentioned as well. Also, we have our partners at Real Madrid Committee. They are really helpful in putting the word out. Do give them a follow as well on Instagram. So, Farooq, you know what to say. Kevin, we end the podcast always with a Hala Madrid. You can join in if you want, or say an awesome.
Because of the final and what's coming up, I'm going to have to give that a pass.
All right.
Yeah,
what do
man,
you guys say in
Jacob just
Osasuna, though? What do you say with Osasuna, though?
Alpo Osasuna y
Yeah.
Aporeos, which means sort of come on Osasuna and sort of go for them. So Aporeos.
Yep. Nice. All right, for us,
Okay.
it's Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.